San Jose Public Library and San Jose State University Library present Working While Black in the Healthcare Industry, Part 1, Pharmacist. Black American Trailblazers in the Field of Pharmacy. In 1837, Dr. James McCune Smith was the first African American to earn a medical degree. He established his practice in New York City, where he was a prominent civic leader and abolitionist. In conjunction with his medical practice, he opened the first Black-owned pharmacies on West Broadway Street. These pharmacies also served as training grounds for several Black pharmacists. He was a prominent civic leader, abolitionist, and a noted speaker and writer. As a journalist, he briefly edited The Colored American, wrote a column for Frederick Douglass's paper, and edited the weekly Anglo-African. Anna Louise James was the only woman in her class at the Brooklyn College of Pharmacy, and the first woman to graduate from that school in 1908. She became the first licensed female pharmacist in Connecticut, and was among the first women to practice pharmacy in the country. She worked for her brother-in-law, Peter Lane, at his pharmacy, Lane Drug Store. In 1917, Lane turned over management of the drugstore to James and renamed it James Pharmacy. Sidney Barthwell Sr. earned his B.S. in pharmacy from Wayne State University in 1929. He opened his first pharmacy in Detroit at the height of the Great Depression in 1933. He established 10 pharmacies, and before long, Barthwell Drugs became the largest Black-owned chain of drugstores in the United States. Barthwell was eulogized on the floor of the Michigan House of Representatives as one of the first African-American entrepreneurial beacons of Detroit to exemplify the American dream. In 1996, the Sidney Barthwell Endowed Pharmacy Scholarship was established at Wayne State to carry on his legacy. From the trailblazers into the modern era, talking to Black pharmacists who earned their pharmacy degrees in the early 80s and currently, or until recently, work in the industry. Hello and welcome to Working While Black in the Healthcare Industry. This is Part 1, Pharmacist. What is your name, profession, how long have you been in the healthcare industry, and what professional degree or certification did you need to obtain the position?
I'm Teresa Harris, and I've been in this pharmacy health profession for 44 years. You say how long it took?
What's the professional degree that you have?
We're registered pharmacists, RPH.
Bachelor of Science. BS degree.
BS degree, okay.
I'm Zeldia Houston DeWalt. I've been in the pharmacy profession for 45 years. I obtained a Bachelor of Science degree from Texas Southern University. Woo! And it was awesome.
And I'm Viola James. I've been in this profession, for 43 years. Still working. I finished from HBCU with a Bachelor of Science degree also.
I'm Deborah Seals. I graduated from Texas Southern University also. Got a Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy, and I've been pharmacist in the healthcare industry for 45 years.
I'm Debbie Pegues Helms, and I am a retired pharmacist, and I was only in the pharmacy career for 10 years. I retired to come home, to become a stay-at-home mom. I graduated from TSU Pharmacy School, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy.
Can you tell us about your experiences while attending the historically Black University Texas Southern? Did you feel that you had a unique bond with your professors?
When I first started out, it was so hard. I just thought this is impossible to do. But they kept challenging us, and finally we got the nick of it. As a matter of fact, a few classes, our biology class, the professor just thought we were just apathetic. But he was talking Greek to us because the chemical terms and all that was just Greek to me, coming from a poverty-stricken area in we call it the ghetto subdivision of Houston, but it prepared us very well. Our instructors were persistent and patient, and they had confidence in us, and so we just had to be determined to have confidence in ourselves and persevere, and the rest is history.
I enjoyed the professors that we had because some of them seemed like old auntie and uncle. When we came up, it wasn't all just textbook students, stuff like that. Okay, now girl, you got to come on now. That kind of stuff. Come in, we can go in there, and they would joke with. Some of them would joke with you sometimes and stuff, and if you didn't understand. For the most part, most of them made me feel comfortable to come and ask. And willing to help. So it's kind of like a family environment, or your grandma, auntie, uncle, stuff like that in the classroom, because we didn't have to deal with color.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So we felt comfortable.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Were there any specific challenges you faced as students during your pharmacy or field-related internships that you feel occurred because you are Black?
With me inside, I did an internship at MD Anderson, and at that time, MD Anderson was, very non-diverse, like that. So I just remember one incident, we're in the 1980s, and it was a group effort. We'd meet in the morning with the doctors. It was a team of doctors, dietitians, everybody, And this particular patient was a Caucasian male, I guess in his late 60s, early 70s. And so we called the doctor over, and it was myself and one other intern from U of H, African Americans, and he didn't want us in the room. And so the doctor just didn't mean to harm me, he didn't put a face, he just says, TSU pharmacist students, just go, and he sent us to another room to inspect, and immediately, I knew what that was about. I felt some type of way, but it just made me more determined to say, one day they're gonna be calling me to ask me questions, and that's exactly what happened. Anyways, it was an experience that I'm like, man, it's still occurring, nowadays, but again, just don't let it stop you. It just fuels you for greater things.
What was it like after securing your first job as a pharmacist? Can you speak to something unique to the Black experience in the field?
I'm the only one that really worked. I worked hospital pharmacy, and they were retail
hospital also.
No, you were at retail. That's right. It's from
hospital. But when I first started, it wasn't diverse at all. I think I was probably maybe the second person of color that had worked there. The first one that was there wasn't there long. They had a whole lot of issues with her, and when I started, the nurses, because they weren't used to people of color in the pharmacy, if that's a pharmacist, then, they would ask me a question, then they would look for somebody else. So they were very distrustful, and so we had to work hard to, just build a relationship where they, felt comfortable with me, and we just worked from there, but it was really hard at first.
I think what Teresa said is this has been our life experiences. We all had to work hard to prove ourselves. My husband had the same experience in dental school. He was very few Blacks there, and they had to repeat the work over and over and over, the handwork over and over and over, just to prove themselves. That was our way of life, unfortunately.
Yes.
And even after pharmacy school, I worked in Alvin back in the early 80s, and this one lady, she was an older lady, bless her heart, she came up and she says, I need to speak to the pharmacist. I said, how can I help you? I need to speak to the pharmacist. I have a Caucasian technician. And so she looked at her, and so I said, can I help you? She says, I want to talk to the pharmacist. I looked at her and said, I'm not the cleaning lady. Well, needless to say, I got in trouble about that, but she asked me 3 times and I told her, can I help you? But she didn't want to believe that I could be a pharmacist. And so we got to be really close friends later on. Not close friends, but we got to be able to cordial, respect each other. And she would bring me her jam, which I did not eat. I love you, baby, but I'm not eating the jam. She was so embarrassed, but anyways, again, time and time again, all Deer Park, Alvin, they would always seem to put me in the places where it's kind of like the Star Wars, going to the places nobody else has gone before. And I would always have to blaze a trail. And one Ku Klux Klan town in Vidor, Texas, I remember they would come and look at me as a spectacle and laugh. And one guy told me I need to put on gloves. That's before gloves were heard of, to count his medicine. Wow. So seriously, but it just made me strong. I'm telling you, it just makes you strong to know I belong here. I passed the same exam that all those other kids passed. Exactly. So I'm going to be here when you come back. I'll be happy to help you. But it was if you were not a strong person early on, it would really be something on your emotional well-being.
I experienced the same thing too. Same as because where our customers were mostly military based.
Oh yeah.
And very so like you work for me, I save this country, that kind of junk. And same thing. I speak to the pharmacist. Can I help you? They're looking at my technician who's Caucasian.
Exactly.
And she finally said, well, she's the pharmacist, I'm not the pharmacist. And they said, well, I want you to. So he asked her the question for me to answer, and I told him, absolutely not. You better not say a word. No. If you can't ask me, she's not to answer you. She don't know. I have to tell her. Anyway, so no, she's not to answer you. So if you couldn't talk to me, that's the end of the conversation.
But I must admit, once these people were literally ignorant. The ones that I encountered, they were really ignorant. Again, I was in Deer Park. I was in Vidor, Texas. I was in West University. I was in Alvin, Texas. Me too. So all those places, they were really ignorant. I think, I really do believe in destiny. And you're placed in where you are for a purpose and a reason. And when I realized that, I could build off the other. I realized, you know what, that happened in Alvin. So now I've got to break that barrier. So instead of me getting bitter, I got better.
And you help educate them.
Exactly. And I would just, I would kill them with kindness. You can't deny somebody who's kind, pleasant. I didn't get an attitude. I just would you like for me to help you? Would you like her to help you? Oh, you can help me. And I softly, grab. My grandmother used to always tell my baby, you can catch more bees with honey than you can vinegar. That's right. So I turn into a honeybee pharmacist, and it works like a charm. And to this day, the people in Vidor still send me birthday greetings. They still come to see me when they're in town. So I'm like, wow, So again. Would I ever go back out there? I just don't know. That was a grace period. Grace. I went in the store.
You were down there for what reason? Was it a storm came through?
Albertsons closed down. I was working as a relief pharmacist, and they sent me to Alvin. I didn't know to Vidor. I didn't know what Vidor was. So they put me up in a hotel. So that morning I was getting directions to Vidor. White guy at the hotel. He said, who going to Vidor? Oh. He said, you going to Vidor? I said, what do you mean? He says, you don't want to go to Vidor. I said, well, what's wrong with Vidor? And so, of course, me being the spiritual person I am, I just looked at him in the face. I said, if there's a place on the face of the earth where God is not, then I won't go. And so with that being said, everything in me trembled. I went back upstairs. I had about 15 minutes going around. Went back upstairs, fell on my knees. Jesus, help me. And again, one guy came through there, he walked out. Several people, they just walked out. They come in and walked out, come in and walked out. I called my supervisor and told him. The store manager, same thing. Fast forward a couple of years later, I just started, he was going through a divorce. I started just talking with him, and finally he just broke down. I just didn't know you were that type of person. And he started being all the prejudice in his family. I said, everybody's like that. I've got some family members like that.
Prejudice is taught.
Prejudice is taught. Exactly.
It's taught behavior.
He was just embarrassed that he had all these ideas, but I have helped him, realize that people are just people. I said, yeah, we all bleed the same blood.
That's right.
We all came from the same creator.
That's right.
It's okay. I mean, everybody's just don't know. So
That's so funny because some of those same customers turn out to be some of my
the best customers. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. When we love and close the farm.
Stick up for you, nobody will not mess with you.
Yes.
That's true.
So
they
just get to know that you're people just like they are. And we genuinely care.
Yes, exactly.
Trying to help.
Ms. DeWalt, just to give us a time frame, what year did your experience in Vidor, Texas begin?
This was 2010, 2011. Everybody was just odd that I would be invited.
Right.
Like, why?
I was. I said, what?
I remember that. And you go into the restaurants and they would just stare at me. Stare at me when the waiter came by. I tipped him $30, $40 and paid for the whole bill for all the white people. I'm not going anywhere. I was scared. And when I tell you I was scared, I was afraid. My technician invited me to her house. And we got to know each other. Girl, I traveled through the backwoods. Oh my God, backwoods, no road, no nothing. And she looked exactly like Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies, as sweet as she could be. And her house was about the same, and she invited me in there, and her husband came out of there. I fell on my knees. I was so scared. I was shaking. He jeered at me, pinpoint eyes, like, what is this doing in my house? I'm sitting there, literally, I thought he was going to see me shaking. I was just, okay, well, get out of here. I say, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here before it gets too dark. And he was so mad. So when he got back to work, I said, oh, he was just having some pain or something that day. Long story short, when he got to know me, he apologized and told me the same thing, that he just had never had a black person in his house before.
After hearing about your experiences, was it difficult for a black pharmacist to even obtain pharmacy positions in Texas or the South in general?
We graduated in 81. Okay, and at that time, I think we were having a lot of people were having a hard time finding jobs. I don't know if it was like right before then or what, but I know a lot of the black pharmacists were being moved to, offer jobs in like Chicago or St. Louis, because they were not hiring them in Houston, in Texas. So anyway,
most of the black pharmacists went to Walgreens.
Exactly. That's right. That was the headquarters, right?
Right.
And I always said black pharmacists made Walgreens. Yes, they are. Because we were working out and got treated badly.
So I just got to step in because I started working at the hospital a year before I graduated. And so then I was offered a job to stay. So that was easy for me.
That's right. That's how
I think that was the same way for Debbie and I. We worked for Edwards. And we were when we were in school, pharmacy school. So when we finished,
we were called drug clerks back then.
We just got
and so when
they offered us a job,
and they just hired us on as pharmacists.
I think I had applied for Eckers, but I didn't get on because I never worked there. yet. But I did because I worked at the hospital, so I got there.
So it's easier to get hired on in a place if you had already interned.
Familiar with it.
Exactly.
And it also helps too, because then you knew the job place, you knew the people there, supervisors, so you already had kind of like a little upper hand.
I think I got on at the Eckerd on Reed Road because it was a troubled pharmacy. And a guy that interviewed me said, nobody else would go to that store on Cullen, seriously. And I think that's the reason they needed it. Everybody kept quitting on Cullen.
But back then, that's what they did.
Yeah,
they put you into the black. If you were black, they put you into the black neighborhood. They sent you to the stores that wasn't doing well.
And the white pharmacists would not go to those areas, so they had to send somebody over there, and it was more likely.
And when you hired on, they put you in those areas. They offered you those positions.
Less help, more work, with less. I don't know if you
But
guys
it's funny how your stores will always excel, though.
they did. We were high volume stores, work harder with less help, less
If you know how to talk to the people that come in there, look, I'll be with you in a minute.
And you can't tell them something, because when I transitioned to U of A,
and they love to see us of color in their neighborhood, somebody that they can relate to. So I think that
Mine was a little different because I did my internship in the predominantly white area. So when I got my license, then they moved me to another white area.
With her being white, I'll know.
they feel safe with you.
I don't know where did that work. When I left, my first job with Eckerd was at on Beverly. Okay, but that was a diverse.
That wasn't as diverse.
Kind of whiteness.
They had a lot of white still.
Older whites.
Well, I guess so, because I know one black lady came into Eckerd's, where I was doing my externship. I was a drug clerk.
Yes.
And the pharmacist was trying to explain to her something about her medication or whatever, and he was trying to explain to her, and she didn't understand. So I was trying to explain to her what was going on, and she said, "Shut up, Mexican." And I went, "I'm not Mexican." And so I just left it alone.
Isn't that something? So she was a black lady?
She was a black lady.
Reverse question.
Following up on some of you saying that black customers appreciated seeing representation in the stores black pharmacists were typically sent to, do you feel there is a particular way you relate to customers of color to better serve their needs?
Yeah, for me, because a lot of my customers were elderly. They come in there, needed help on certain things. Probably booking them wouldn't help mom and them at home. So you had to talk to them like you the daughter, you the whatever, kind of talk to them like that. Because they baby, instead of calling you the pharmacist, baby, I need your help, stuff like that. Yeah, so.
In my experience, they would actually come to talk to me. You got a minute? I'm thinking about their medicine. They took you as the daughter or their mom or their aunt, just because they needed somebody they can confide in. And in case you didn't know, pharmacists are the most trusted profession in the world, the number one trusted profession. And we got that firsthand because a lot of times they just needed somebody to talk to. And we would give, especially us, we would give them that time. Particularly if you build a rapport with the customer, they felt safe with you, and a lot of times they would leave there really uplifted and just encouraged because they know they talked to somebody who was going to tell them the truth, was going to empathize with what they were going through and not just ignore them. And some of the older people, they had nobody to talk to.
Right.
So they would leave their house and come and talk to me. I told them, I can talk to you. What time can you home and talk to me? I said, well, come after 6 o'clock. Well, that's too late because I have to go. I said, well, just, I would sometimes use a couple of minutes before my lunch break just to do it. Sometimes I would use my lunch break and go to lunch with them just to talk to them.
The older customers the older black customers tend to relate to us more, and they look for extra help from us. So we've gone out to their houses, deliver medications to them outside of work when it's not required for us to do that, and they appreciate that because they don't have anybody else. They can't drive.
6 or 7 kids and nobody's there to
that too.
deliver the message. I go, hey, you know your mom does such and such, and one daughter said, oh, it's just, I'm the only one to do such and such, which is sad. You do see that.
So we've helped a lot.
And I think our career in pharmacy helped us to be more empathetic for people.
And that is true, because I have technicians that have become pharmacists that still come back and I have a relationship with, and they talk to us or come by and visit us or.
You ladies have been so informative and empowering this afternoon. You have much wisdom to impart on the younger generation. So here's my final question to you. How important is mentorship from Black pharmacists to potential Black pharmacists in this community?
I think mentorship was and is still very important, because you have someone that you can go and talk to, you can see what they're doing, you can learn from them, and I think that helped us be more comfortable progressing or going from school right into our profession, because we had somebody that we can always call or talk to or ask a question to.
And you see somebody that look like you, and you see if they did it, you can do it too.
Right.
Amen. That's good.
That's good.
Amen.
And I hope that African American youth would continue to pursue the profession, because we work too hard not to go into the pharmacy and we don't see no representation.
Exactly.
So I really do hope that not only us as individual pharmacists, but pharmacy schools and even the older pharmacists older than us would encourage them, to do that. We don't want our legacies to die out.
And when I walk into a Walgreens or whatever, I feel proud to see a Black pharmacist.
Exactly. That's what encouraged me. Exactly. So I would definitely encourage them to do it. It's not for the faint of heart, but it can be done. Believe me.
Be focused.
Amen.
It's not easy.
It's going to take all of you.
Yes. Absolutely. A lot of people think it's just cotton pills. They, what's so hard about it?
Right.
They just don't,
Exactly.
what we had to go through to get there.
That's right.
It was hard, but you can do it.
And it was worth it, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I know I promised that last question was the finale, but can you please remind me of your school and year of graduation for our conclusion?
Texas Southern University, class of 1980. School of Pharmacy.